Tonight, hey, little Rico, I know that's faux fur, because you, as a dog, would never wear a fellow dog, much less a fox or a mink. You're compassionate. Don't wear fur. Rico, tonight in our Animal Investigations Unit, outrage erupting as the Bureau of Land Management announces yet another wild horse roundup using our tax dollars. This is happening as we speak along the Wyoming-Colorado border, and it's an outrage.
I'm going to quote from a Velez-Mitchell song. Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone? You can sing the rest.
Ha ha ha, but it's not funny. That is Secretary of the Interior, Sally Jewell, under whose leadership the U.S. government continues its controversial wild horse roundups. These roundups terrify wild horses and their babies, fillies and foals, helicopters. Oh, my gosh. Do you know how scared these horses are right now as they race away from that chopper? They have no idea what's going on. What's going on is they're being rounded up. About 45,000 wild horses have been rounded up with our tax dollars, and they are languishing at taxpayer expense in cramped U.S. government holding pens. Why? 45,000 horses in pens. What will happen to them? Our show has repeatedly asked Interior Secretary Sally Jewell to comment specifically on the wild horses the U.S. government is keeping indefinitely in government holding pens. She will not. Instead, her agency directs us to this hour-long video, and I watched the whole hour, where she doesn't specifically address the horses in holding pens under her watch, but she does say this.
Horses are really good at reproducing. 20% a year. That means the herd doubles in size every 3.5 years. That's a lot of horses, and providing they have forage, that gives them an opportunity to continue to grow very dramatically and not in a sustainable way.
Okay, here's the truth. The truth is the wild horse population has been decimated by the U.S. government. There used to be millions. Now we're down to about 33,000 wild horses, and the U.S. government just keeps on rounding up the rest. I and other critics believe the U.S. government is in violation of its own Wild Horse and Burro Act. Secretary Jewell, however, says this.
We would love to have a stronger partnership with the pharmaceutical industry to come up with a more effective birth control method than what's available out there, because it's very expensive and it doesn't work for a very long period of time. And oh, by the way, you have to get the horses there to give them the birth control.
But Interior Secretary Sally Jewell, I hope you're watching and listening. You do know that rounding up the horses and then carting them off to live miserable lives in holding pens costs millions and millions and millions of dollars. How about that expense? Why didn't you mention that enormous expense? Could there be another reason you want these wild horses off the land? Is this, as some critics claim, a land grab for various industries, including the cattle and energy industries? Joining me now, CEO and President of the Humane Society of the United States, Wayne Pacelli. Wayne, first of all, what can you tell us about the horrors that these wild horses face as they're rounded up and put in these holding pens?
Well, Jane, you said it right. We've got more animals in holding facilities than we have horses on the range. We're talking about the far western states. We're talking about millions of acres. Fertility control, if they want to control the populations, is far superior to rounding them up and then having them in the holding facility. 60% of the Bureau of Land Management's budget for wild horses is being cannibalized by these roundups and the holding facilities. We've got a new policy that the National Academy of Sciences and others have advocated. We really need to begin to implement that policy, and credit goes to Madeline Pickens and so many other wild horse advocates, and you, Jane, for really focusing on this problem.
Well, yes, and we're going to talk to one of my heroes, Madeline Pickens, right now. Instead of answering her specific question, very simple. What do you plan to do with 45,000 or even more at this point horses languishing in government holding pens? It's a simple question. The Interior Department sent us this video of Secretary Jewell's speech. It's an hour long. She doesn't shy away from allegations that more of the Bureau of Land Management controlled acreage, this is what she oversees, where many wild horses roam could be used for controversial processes like fracking in the future.
13% of all oil drilling and fracturing is done on BLM land right now. Will that number rise or go down in the future?
We have a number of opportunities to continue to develop oil and gas on BLM lands, and we will continue to see that happen. We'll likely do more because we'll be leasing more land to do it.
Now, critics are saying, hey, wild horses have been removed from many areas so that private industry can get into these areas and frack, and also the cattle industry. Yeah, I want to go to Madeline Pickens, founder of Saving America's Mustangs. Madeline, thank you for joining us. You have offered getting back to these horses in holding pens, 45,000 now, maybe more, up to 50,000, some are saying. You've offered to take virtually all of these horses and put them in a sanctuary of thousands of acres of land that you have. Tell us what your conversations have been with the government, because you could solve this problem, save U.S. taxpayers a whole bunch of money. Go ahead.
It's interesting listening to Sally Jewell. She repeats the same things that most people on the other side of the coin are saying, that, they go at 20% a year. The one thing these people forget to mention is attrition. There's a natural high attrition rate on the range because there are no such things as antibiotics. I mean, there's severe weather.
Madeline, I got to cut to the chase. I've got to cut to the chase. Look at the camera and answer me this question. You offered to take the horses. Why has the government not taken you up on saving millions of dollars that you would really take all of that responsibility on yourself, a person who can afford it?
I did offer that. And there's two things that you look at. When something doesn't work and you have a good solution, you have to say to yourself, why is it not working? Is it corruption or is it just stupidity?
You've offered to take the horses that are in these temporary holding pens year after year, and the Interior Department just says no.
They won't make a commitment. They haven't even come out to visit. I talk to the Department in Washington all the time, and they're telling me they don't even have the money to round up any more horses. Then why do you have 50,000 already gathered, and you talk about gathering more? They just desecrated the whole Sheldon Wildlife Refuge.
They're gathering them right now, Madeline. They're gathering them now. They're telling you they don't have money to give you the horses. They're gathering more. Something stinks. Something stinks big time. Take it from me. Secretary Jewell, you are invited to come on this program anytime. I would love to ask you some questions.